welcome to Champions of Change, a TV series wherein we showcase enterprises that are transforming India's socio-economic landscape. In this special episode, we present you a company that is empowering women in the workforce with its progressive corporate policies. We're talking about home textiles giant Welspun. WOW, or Women of Wellspun, is an initiative that aims to identify and nurture diverse skill sets and navigate every woman at the organization to discover her highest potential. We caught up with Welspun's CEO and Joint Managing Director, Dipali Goenka, to understand the company's approach to creating a culture of equal opportunity for its female employees. Dipali, so at Welspun, over 30% of the workforce is women. And what's so interesting is they're not simply employed on the manufacturing floor, but they're also in deeply specialized technical roles as well. So do you believe that technology has become a leveler of sorts when it comes to gender inclusivity and hiring in the workforce?
It is, and that's definitely there. And I think COVID has taught us that. There were so many women who were not working, and now with the whole hybrid model where you're working from home as well, there's an opportunity for all women. And the fact is that when you talk about technology, where you saw women in the manufacturing roles more, the opportunity is that, women are out there in technology, they're out there in space now, out there on manufacturing, they're multitaskers, they are women who handle home, they are handling children, and they're handling work.
Absolutely.
I think that's what the world is. And the whole beauty is that, when you talk about the 5 trillion GDP in our country, how is it going to happen if the 50% of workforce is not working? And that's what I feel is the greatest opportunity for us.
Well, I'd love to build on that because the Women of Wellspun initiative is somewhat unique to your organization, and it not only focuses on corporate employees but also on plant associates. What is the intention of the initiative and what are its key focus areas?
So let me first take it in from the beginning, before Women of Wellspun was even born. When I joined Wellspun, there were 7% women, and today proud to say there are 30% women. We did a project with one of the biggest retailers in the world about women associates with a program with Swasti and NGO. These women, they used to wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning. They used to manage everything at home and then come to work. We did this program where you looked at, how the man of the house could help and support the woman as well.
Interesting.
So that they could share the workload. So, for me and for us at Wellspun, that became something where, you saw that, more women came to work. So the opportunity here is not just there, it's also with the women at the peer level. And when I say that, when you talk about diversity, it is not just about stating those numbers. It's about the ecosystem, how that ecosystem is, whether it's a family, it's the peers at work, and the other support systems as well. So that's where it began.
Sure.
And today when we speak of Women of Wellspun, the whole advantage and the opportunity is, it's about at all levels. So today I can tell you, and I would say that, today if I have around 25-26% at my blue collar level, my white collar will not be more than 7 to 8%. And at the top level, it will be just a 0.05 or a 0.67%. But the opportunity here is that you have a Women of Wellspun where everybody, they come together. They have any challenges, they can reach out to these people whom they can, help them and guide them. So that's a big opportunity for us. We want to really make a difference in creating a diversified workforce across all levels, and that's where the Women of Wellspun is an opportunity. For me, it's not just about Women of Wellspun, it is also about the communities, because at Wellspun we want to become the agents of change, and we are the agents of change. It's not just the women who work at Wellspun, it's the communities where we are working with a project called Spun, where it's not about just women getting empowered, where they are doing beautiful stuff with upcycling 2 tons of rags that
Sure.
we generate at Wellspun, but also their livelihoods. I always believe, and we believe at Wellspun, that if a woman gets empowered, the child is definitely going to go to school. And the vision of India to become that global superpower and that 5 trillion GDP is only going to happen where corporates like us can make that difference.
Absolutely. And another question there, a rejoinder. You've gone on record to say that gender diversity in the workplace makes individuals stronger. But not only that, it makes organizations more resilient. How so, and how do ultimately organizations derive strength from diversity with respect to becoming more future ready?
In this world, and I always believe, when I came on the job at Welspun India, I was a little apprehensive, being very honest, because when you come into this role of textiles, I came in from launching my spaces as a brand in 2003, and the retail and the consumer bit. I didn't know anything about manufacturing. But there's an interesting thing that I got on the table and which I felt and realized that what I have as my strengths, let me play on my strengths.
Sure.
You have an emotional quotient and the IQ. And I played on my emotional quotient. I knew the consumer well. I knew what my strengths lied in. And that's where I began my journey on. And hence, that's where, the whole vision and the goal is. That, when you talk about diversity, you're getting a different element into place. It's not just about IQ. And technology is going to really make all the difference and, going to make things like finance, things like the whole rigmarole, that, the daily rigmarole kind of jobs go rudimentary. What is going to be there that's going to be really important is, emotional quotient. It's about creativity, the element which a woman can also definitely get on, on the table as well. That's what I believe in, and that's where this whole element of, change is going to happen.
Well, Dipali, as you just alluded to, businesses do have the power to become agents of change. Do you think there have been meaningful advancements across the broader Indian business landscape with respect to gender diversity in the workplace and hiring practices?
I think there are a lot of things that are happening now, and you can see it at the leadership level as well. And definitely you can see that impact coming at a lot of corporates as well, and they are making that difference. When when I'm talking to all my customers abroad and globally, they basically talk about that if it's women-led businesses are given opportunities. They are given advantages over other business run by different diversities as well.
Sure.
So I think that's where India is moving towards. I mean, I remember our packaging globally in one of the biggest retailers again has a women-led initiative, a women-led business, and that's kind of a label that goes in that packaging that is shipped from Welspun to United States of America, and that's what we will see happening more and more in this country, and that's the power of diversity that can really make that change happen.
Well, that message is really resonating, and I believe that Wellspun is truly doing its part in making that happen. So thank you for your efforts and contributions and for taking the time to speak with us. We wish you all the continued success.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'll start a bit with the professional level enrichment of career for women, etc. And I always look at, how do I get them ready for the next role? Constantly encouraging them to be fit for the next level, to upgrade themselves continuously, to get all the soft skills as well.
After our conversation with CEO and Managing Director Dipali Goenka, we spoke to the CEO of the domestic business at Wellspun, Manjari Upadhyay, for her take on how the next generation of women leaders in the workplace can be identified, groomed and nurtured. Manjari, broadly speaking, what's your approach to nurturing the next generation of female leaders, not simply on a professional level but on a personal level?
Yeah, so I'll start a bit with the professional level enrichment of career for women, etc. And I always look at, how do I get them ready for the next role? And that involves a lot of, whether it's on the job training, identifying special needs for their training requirements, providing the work culture around for them to be able to do it with absolute comfort, ease, because it's truly when you make them feel themselves. If they can be themselves at work, they perform really well.
Absolutely.
Upgrade their skills, and then they are ready for next roles. And always coaching and guiding them on, you know, how to match your skill set to your aspiration, and then look at both of them together, see what can you do, how do you need to demonstrate your performance in this coming year to be able to move to the next level, etc. Even I even encourage women to take up lateral challenges. For example, women, you know, who've never been in sales, etc. I definitely encourage them to take up a couple of sales assignments and, you know, be out there in the field doing customer facing roles, because that's what sort of holistically builds them as professionals in this field. And that's what I do at professional front, you know, constantly encouraging them to be fit for the next level, to upgrade themselves continuously, to get all the soft skills as well, to be able to manage teams, managers, stakeholders, customers, etc. And that's an ongoing thing at Welspun, by the way, that we definitely are very, very invested in making sure that, you know, our skill set for not just women employees but also men, that's just improving continuously.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, at a personal level though, I must say that I have an open door policy, and I do end up relating to a lot of women in the organization at a life stage level. You know, I've been through the same bit of, you know, being a mom to two, now having teenagers,
right,
pets at home, just the regular challenges of, you know, people not turning up, not having enough support system, children falling sick, and having to, you know, manage a lot of fronts, including grocery shopping and stuff like that. So I do chat up with people on these things, and that's what I feel like, you know, there is relatability because of that, and they don't see this as, you know, something that this woman doesn't have to deal with,
right,
or cannot, you know, we have to deal with it, but she doesn't need to. It's not that. So, and that actually helps build positive aspiration.
What is your approach to actively hiring women in roles traditionally occupied by men? You know, what sort of message does it send when women see other women-led enterprises or come across other women in top management positions at multinational corporations, for example? To what extent does the messaging resonate, and what is that message?
You know, when it comes to building talent, yes, diversity is a huge theme everywhere, but I personally, if you ask me, I'm a proponent of, you know, having the right person in the right role.
Sure.
And to your point on, you know, women now coming into fields that are male dominated, yes, there have been fields of engineering, you know, STEM students are largely men. But now you do have women, you know, championing this cause, and it is about identifying that talent. Having that right skill set is still the most important thing that we look for. And in our categories, I would say the customer, the end customer is a woman. She is the homemaker. She's the one who decides what's best for her house decor.
Right.
So why not have a woman as a customer facing person who can tell a little bit more on not just the features and all the differentiators that our products have, but how it makes customers feel at the end of the day about,
Sure.
you know, looking like the house looks perfect, you know, it's a personal high, all of that, you know, women can easily explain in that sense. And but it's just a matter of getting out of your comfort zone. And I do encourage women to look at cross-functional roles and different fields that have not been earlier, but we do have a very good ratio of women in male-dominated field, including sales.
You're of course a very active hands-on mentor when it comes to the Women of Wellspun initiative. How do you, broadly speaking, assess its impact overall? Any
mentorship, you know, it has, I would dimensionalize into two parts. One is, you know, the immediate impact, and there is a bit of a medium long-term impact, is when they see leaders talking to you directly, mentoring you directly. There is comfort, of course. There is reassurance that, you know, when I also have mentors,
right?
Right, when I go and talk to them, and when, you know, fears, etc., are assuaged, it's a different, it's a very short-term impact, but, you know, at that point in time, I feel like very good about having spoken to my mentor, and likewise, you know, try and do that. But there is a medium to long-term impact which comes through aspiration, that yes, tomorrow I can be in this seat,
Right.
right? So that's just the personal impact on the person. But the impact that we also look for is behavioral. That is this person. For example, some of them are not very vocal about their thoughts.
Sure.
They do have thoughts. And when you encourage them to do that, is behaviorally, you're witnessing that change, that in meetings, after a couple of times of nudging, encouragement, etc., that they've started voicing their opinion. I do see that in terms of their capability to lead teams, handle large teams, is that being demonstrated now with all the coaching that happens, which is on the job, as well as mentoring at Wellspun, as well as skill set upgrading. Is that happening now? So that's the behavioral aspect of it. And the third, and that's almost like an output of all these inputs, is that the impact on performance and productivity, and how are they seen, as contributors from their managers. I think that's the most telling of all, that that this person has delivered results that are surpassing expectations,
Right.
beating expectations. That's the high that you get out of finally engaging with women and having all these programs, that at the end of the day, the productivity for the organization and the impact and the performance is just so much better overall for the org and also for the individual.
Well, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with us, and we congratulate you on all that you're doing. It's certainly very inspiring.
Thank you very much.
What I'm particularly proud about Women of Wellspun, that it allows this initiative to reach women in the corporate as well as women who are actually working in the plants.
Next, we spoke to Vidisha Banerjee for her take on how the Women of Wellspun initiative has created a culture of inclusion at all levels of the organization. So I'm curious to understand what inspired Wellspun to champion this Women of Wellspun initiative.
Right, so India's on its journey, we're making this journey, we're aspiring as a nation to be the third largest economy by 2030. And it will be unwise to think that women will not partake a role in this journey. And I think our thought behind having an initiative like Women of Wellspun was to shoulder this responsibility along with the nation, right? Because we wanted to create an initiative which nurtured women who were internally with us, and also create more room and space for women to come and work with us in Wellspun.
Vidisha, help me better understand what distinguishes the Women of Wellspun initiative from other corporate women-focused programs in the market.
Right. So I think, one of the things that I've seen in my experience, that a lot of focus is given only on the corporate women. But I think Wellspun Group is a large conglomerate. We have women who work in our factories and in our plant. And what I'm particularly proud about Women of Wellspun, that it allows this initiative to reach women in the corporate as well as women who are actually working in the plants. Right. So it is very inclusive of every women employee among Welspun Group. And the other piece is that many times I've seen that the programs are really initiatives in terms of workshop. So what we've done is we've gone like a step further. We've looked at a complete holistic development of women. So whether it's their mental wellness, whether it's their physical wellness, whether it's their emotional wellness, Women of Wellspun is all inclusive. We have a psychologist on board with us, so if women want, they can reach and speak with her. We have a nutritionist who works with us, who actually provides bespoke, customized plans for women for their own health and fitness.
Phenomenal.
We also have a master yoga teacher empaneled with us. So we believe that it's a healthy mind, body, and together is what will make a better workplace for women here.
Absolutely. And on a day-to-day basis, outside of this initiative, how does Wellspun inspire and involve all of its stakeholders, including its male employees, to march forward on equal footing towards the organization's shared goals and shared purpose?
What we do is for all our employees, it is mandatory to go through an inclusion diversity workshop. So each and every employee who joins the organization is to be a part of that workshop. But I think your question is so brilliant, because unless you take the stakeholders, especially the men who manage these women, right? So unless you partake and partner with them, this journey is incomplete, right? So what we've done is we're actually doing workshops where we're working with the male managers of these women, and we're working with them to sort of see how do you manage and nurture women talent better. So you're actually conducting workshops with these men, which are not your regular off-the-cuff PPT-driven workshops, but workshops which involve drama and theatre, where they can actually experientially talk about real-life examples, and this skill will help them better nurture this women talent that works with them.
Phenomenal. Thank you so much for shedding more light on the initiative, and we wish you all the best with respect to the future.
Thank you so much.
After our conversations with management, we spoke to employees at Wellspun for a first-hand take on Wellspun's work culture.
Hi everyone, I am Deepa Urmil from the Learning Culture in Employer Branding team of Wellspun. Women of Wellspun for me is an ideology. It's a way of life, and I strongly believe that empowering women is not only about the women, but the whole ecosphere. I was reading an article that said empowering women isn't just the right thing to do, it's the smart thing to do. And I couldn't agree more. To encourage gender diversity and empower women, Women of Wellspun includes mentoring and coaching to support career growth, encouraging women employees to identify their development areas and work on them through the cohort under Women of Wellspun, known as the Conscious Women of Wellspun. We have safe and secure channels of informal communication and collaboration to seek support with each other. We also have connects with our senior women leaders where women can freely share their concerns as well as success stories. We are elated to have a platform like this where women can upskill and excel as the organization gives them all the possible tools at hand.
At Welspun, it's a privilege to be part of an organization that truly values and embodies an inclusive workplace and equality within its environment. I've looked at the women associates on the shop floor. The impact that Welspun has created with women who are at the grassroots levels, who are part of villages and rural areas around the plants through our SPUN initiatives, the women para-athletes that we fund and sponsor and take care of through our Welspun Super Sports Women program, and now the Women of Welspun program. All of these have been great programs with far-reaching impact, truly showcasing a spirit of having inclusivity and equality at the workplaces.
Women of Welspun जो कंपनी में ऑर्गेनाइज़ किया है, जो लेडीज़ों के लिए बहुत ही अच्छा है और मैं ये ज्वाइन करना चाहती हूँ। महिलाओं को जो आगे बढ़ना चाहती हैं उनमें वो सब इस वाव में ज्वाइन होके आगे बढ़े।
मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड हूँ। इवन मैं इतने एक्साइटेड हूँ कि मेरा मन कर रहा है मैं ये सर्कल अभी डाउनलोड करके सारे देख लूँ कि उसमें आगे क्या क्या और होने वाला है। तो मैं बहुत एक्साइटेड हूँ और मुझे सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट चीज़ ये लगी कि हम एसोसिएट के लिए ये मैम ने सोचा, दीपाली मैम ने। तो थैंक यू दीपाली मैम एंड थैंक यू ऑल ऑफ वेल्सपन टीम कि हमें इसका हिस्सा बनाया।
मैं इस ऐप से बहुत कुछ नॉलेज पाई हूँ। ये ऐप हमारे लिए बहुत अच्छा है। इसमें हमें जो नॉलेज मिला है वो हमारे लिए और हमारे साथ में जो काम करने वाली सब महिलाएं हैं उनके लिए बहुत हेल्पफुल है। इस ऐप से हम लोग बहुत कुछ सीख सकते हैं।
आज हमने वाव मीटिंग अटेंड की, हमें बहुत ही अच्छा लगा क्योंकि ये प्रोग्राम में ऐसी बहुत सारी चीजें हैं जिसकी वजह से हम अपना फ्यूचर ब्राइट कर सकते हैं। हमें बहुत सारी जानकारी मिल सकती है अपनी हेल्थ से रिलेटेड, फाइनेंस से रिलेटेड, अपनी स्टडी से रिलेटेड। हम बहुत ही खुश हैं कि आपने ऐसा प्रोग्राम बनाया। थैंक यू सो मच।